My beloved child, listen carefully, because this moment was not arranged by accident. The very second you pressed play, heaven leaned closer to you. Archangel Michael stands beside you right now, sword lowered, voice steady, delivering a message that could not wait another heartbeat. God is trying to speak to you right now, and this urgency you feel in your chest is not anxiety. It is recognition. Your spirit knows this message was meant for you. Something has been happening behind the scenes of your life. Quiet signs, repeated numbers, sudden thoughts that come out of nowhere, dreams you couldn't shake, conversations you overheard at just the right time. These were not coincidences. They were signals. Heaven has been knocking, gently at first, but now the knocking has become a call. And Archangel Michael says, this is the moment you stop delaying, because heaven will not wait another second. There is a reason you have felt pressure building lately. Not pressure from fear, but from tying. Doors are aligning. Decisions are ripening. And silence is no longer permitted. God has been trying to get your attention because what comes next in your life cannot unfold without your awareness. Something sacred is being offered, but it requires your response. Archangel Michael reveals that the delay was never on God's side. It was preparation. You were being strengthened quietly, protected silently, redirected subtly. Even the confusion you went through was not wasted. It was training your discernment, teaching you how to hear without noise, teaching you how to feel truth without proof. And now, the message is clear. There is an assignment connected to your name, an answer connected to your obedience, a breakthrough connected to your courage. Heaven had been patient, but patience does not mean postponement forever. This is why this message feels urgent. This is why your heart is racing slightly as you listen. This is why you feel like time is pressing inward. Archangel Michael says, do not assume you have more time just because you have survived before. This is not about fear. This is about alignment. Right now, God is asking for your attention because something has reached its tipping point. A season is closing. Another is opening. And standing between them is a choice only you can make. If you ignore this nudge, the opportunity does not disappear, but the ease will. Grace is present now in a concentrated form. Heaven is near. Assistance is ready. Protection is active. You may have been praying for clarity. This is it. You may have been asking for confirmation. This is it. You may have been waiting for a sign that you are not imagining things. This is it. Archangel Michael is not shouting. He is standing firm. That alone should tell you the seriousness of this moment. When heaven speaks calmly, it is because the matter is already decided on the divine side. What remains undecided is your response. There is something specific God wants you to do, or stop doing, and you already know what it is. The thought has crossed your mind more than once. You put it away because it felt uncomfortable, risky, or inconvenient. But obedience has never been about comfort. It has always been about trust. Do not underestimate how quickly life can shift when one divine instruction is followed. One phone call, one conversation, one step forward, one act of faith, one boundary set, one truth spoken. These are the small hinges that swing massive doors. Archangel Michael says heaven is watching not to judge you, but to partner with you. Angels are assigned to movement, not hesitation. The moment you align, they move. The moment you decide, protection activates. The moment you say yes, resistance weakens. This is why procrastination feels heavier lately. This is why distractions no longer satisfy. This is why rest hasn't felt like rest. Your spirit is ready to move, and stagnation is no longer compatible with who you are becoming. Hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not late. But you are at the edge. God is speaking now because silence would cost more than action. What you are stepping into requires courage, but it also comes with covering. You will not walk alone. You will not fight alone. You will not figure it out alone. Archangel Michael's presence in this message is proof of that. So open your heart fully. Do not multitask. Do not brush this aside. Let the word settle. Let your spirit respond. Because what comes next will build on what you choose in this very moment. And as you continue listening, know this: the clarity you've been searching for is about to sharpen, not slowly but suddenly. Beloved soul, breathe for a moment and let this sink in. What you are feeling right now is not confusion. It is awareness waking up. Archangel Michael steps closer in this moment, not to alarm you, but to steady you. Heaven is not rushing you out of panic. It is drawing you forward with precision. God's voice is becoming clearer because the noise around you is losing its power. What once distracted you no longer satisfies you, and that is a sign of spiritual maturity. You may have noticed that certain people, habits, or environments no longer feel the same. Conversations that once energized you now feel empty. Paths you once chased no longer excite your spirit. This is not loss. This is refinement. Archangel Michael says God is removing what no longer aligns so you can hear what truly matters. When heaven prepares to speak clearly, it first lowers the volume of everything else. Right now, God is not asking you to become someone new. He is asking you to return to who you were before fear edited your choices, before doubt softened your voice, before disappointment taught you to settle. There is a version of you that remembers bold faith, direct obedience, and quiet confidence. That version is being called forward again. Understand this: urgency does not mean chaos. Heaven moves with authority, not confusion. The urgency you feel is because timing has converged. Conditions are aligned. Protection is active. Resistance is already being dealt with in realms you cannot see. Archangel Michael is not preparing you for a battle. He is clearing the path so you can walk without hesitation. God has been trying to speak to you because your next step affects more than just you. Your obedience unlocks doors for others. Your courage becomes confirmation for someone watching you silently. Your yes creates a ripple you may never fully see, but heaven sees it clearly. That is why this message matters so much. You may be wondering why this is happening now. Why not earlier? Why not later? Because now you can handle it. Earlier you would have doubted yourself. Later you would have missed the moment. Divine timing is never late, and it is never early. It arrives when your spirit is finally strong enough to carry the assignment. Archangel Michael says something important here. Stop asking for more signs when clarity has already been given. Repeated confirmation is not faith. It is hesitation wearing a spiritual mask. God has already spoken through nudges, through scripture, through inner knowing. This message is not new information. It is reinforcement. There is also healing happening as you listen. Old guilt is loosening its grip. Shame that never belonged to you is being exposed. Regret from choices you made while surviving is being released. Heaven does not punish growth. It celebrates it. And you have grown more than you realize. This is why your heart feels both heavy and hopeful at the same time. Some is ending, and some is beginning. Endings can feel uncomfortable, even when they are necessary. But do not cling to what God is gently asking you to lay down. What you release now makes room for what you have been praying for. If this message is resonating with you, let that be known. Engage with it. Respond to it. When you like this message, when you share it with someone who needs clarity, when you comment with what you are feeling, you are not just supporting a video, you are declaring alignment. Subscribe to this channel if your spirit recognizes this voice, because these messages are not random, and they are not stopping here. And if you feel called, join the membership, because there are deeper layers of teaching and protection waiting for those who commit to the journey. Archangel Michael emphasizes this moment of response because movement matters. Heaven responds to participation. When you interact, when you speak, when you acknowledge what God is doing, you strengthen the signal between you and the divine. Silence can delay what agreement accelerates. There is still more being revealed, and what comes next connects directly to a decision you have been postponing. This next unfolding will bring clarity you did not expect, and peace you have not felt in a long time. Hold on, because what you are about to hear will shift how you see your current situation completely. Chosen one, feel the shift happening as these words reach you. This is not just understanding. This is activation. Archangel Michael is present again, not as a messenger alone, but as a witness. Heaven is watching how your spirit responds now, because something hath been unlocked simply by your willingness to listen. Many hear words, but few receive truth. You are receiving. There is a sacred interruption happening in your life, but it is interrupting patterns that kept repeating. Cycles that look normal but drain your spirit. Emotional loops where you kept giving without being refilled. Archangel Michael says these cycles were allowed only until you were strong enough to break them. And now that strength has arrived, you may have thought your delays disqualified you. They did not. You may have thought your past choices discredited you. They did not. Heaven does not measure you by moments of weakness, but by your capacity to rise again. And you have risen more times than anyone knows. Quiet resilience has been your language, and God understands it fluently. Right now, there is a separation happening. Not everyone who walked with you can go where you are being led. This does not make them bad, and it does not make you arrogant. It makes you obedient. Growth always creates distance, and distance always reveals truth. Archangel Michael says, do not chase what God is removing. What leaves now is making space for alignment later. There is also something else being revealed. Your voice matters. You were not meant to stay silent forever. The season of observing, learning, and enduring has produced wisdom. That wisdom is meant to be shared through your words, your actions, your boundaries, and your choices. Someone is waiting for the courage you are about to display. God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be available. Availability moves heaven faster than perfection ever could. When you show up honestly, angels are assigned instantly. Archangel Michael is clear about this. Hesitation weakens momentum, but obedience strengthens protection. You may feel unqualified for what is coming next. That feeling is not a warning, it is confirmation. If you felt fully ready, it would mean you were relying on yourself. God specializes in calling people who must lean on Him. That is how glory stays in the right place. Notice how this message keeps circling back to now. Not yesterday, not someday, now. This is because there is a window open that will not remain open forever. Divine windows do not close out of punishment. They close because seasons change. And this season is calling your name. Archangel Michael says there is an anointing for decisiveness being released over you. Confusion is breaking. Mental fog is lifting. That constant inner debate is quieting down. You are about to feel a clarity that feels firm, calm, and undeniable. When it comes, trust it. Do not look for fireworks. God often speaks through peace, a deep knowing, a settled assurance. When your spirit rests while your path stretches forward, that is divine confirmation. And now, before this moment passes, receive this ritual as an act of agreement. Type "I receive divine clarity" in the comments if this message is aligning with your spirit. Lesson code 909 has just been released over your obedience. As this clarity settles in, hear this invitation clearly. When you sow into this mission, you are not supporting a channel. You are placing light into places where souls are still in darkness. The Lord says He gives seed to the sower, and right now, you are being invited to sow into a river that carries truth, urgency, and awakening. I feel led to tell you directly, this is your moment to respond through action. Your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal seed becomes oil that keeps this fire burning for those who have not yet heard. Heaven honors swift obedience. I bless every giver now. May your obedience return to you pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Act now and release what God has placed in your hand. Beloved one, something subtle but powerful is happening within you right now. This is the stage where truth settles deeper than emotion. Archangel Michael is still near, not speaking loudly, but standing watchfully, ensuring that what God is revealing is not stolen by doubt or distraction. What you are entering now is not excitement alone. It is understanding. And understanding changes everything. There has been a question echoing quietly in your heart. What if I step forward and fail? Heaven has heard that question, and the answer is gentle but firm. Failure is not the opposite of obedience. Refusal is. God is not measuring you by outcomes. He is watching your willingness to move when called. Archangel Michael says the fear of getting it wrong has kept you from discovering how protected you truly are. You were never meant to figure out every detail before acting. Faith does not require full visibility. It requires trust in direction. The reason God has not revealed the entire path is because the strength you need will be released step by step. If everything were shown at once, you would rely on information instead of relationship. And heaven desires relationship above all. Notice how certain fears no longer feel as strong as they once did. They still whisper, but they no longer command. This is because your spirit is gaining authority. You are learning to recognize which thoughts come from habit and which come from heaven. Discernment is sharpening, and with discernment comes peace. Archangel Michael reminds you that spiritual growth often feels lonely before it feels empowering. When you outgrow old versions of yourself, there is a brief silence. Familiar voices fade. Old validations disappear. But this silence is not abandonment. It is space. Space for God to speak without competition. You may be tempted to fill that space quickly, with noise, with busyness, with opinions. Resist that urge. Stillness is where clarity matures. The more comfortable you become with quiet obedience, the less power external pressure will have over you. There is also a healing taking place around trust. You have trusted before and been disappointed. You opened your heart and felt misunderstood. You stepped forward and felt unsupported. Heaven has not forgotten those moments. God does not dismiss your caution. He honors it by rebuilding trust slowly and safely. This next step will not expose you the way past steps did. Protection is layered now. Archangel Michael says something important here. Do not confuse peace with lack of resistance. Resistance may still appear, but peace will remain beneath it. That is how you will know you are aligned. Chaos agitates. Alignment stabilizes. Pay attention to what brings you calm even when it challenges you. Pay attention to what excites your spirit without inflating your ego. These are markers. God often confirms direction not through adrenaline, but through a steady inner yes. There is also a release happening from self-blame. You have carried responsibility for things that were never yours to carry. You have replayed conversations, decisions, and moments, wondering what you could have done differently. Archangel Michael says this weight is being lifted now. Wisdom comes from reflection, not from punishment. You are allowed to learn without condemning yourself. As this weight lifts, you may feel lighter but also more exposed. That vulnerability is not weakness. It is honesty. And honesty is the foundation of transformation. God works most powerfully with what is real, not with what is rehearsed. You are stepping into a phase where your prayers become more direct. Less explaining, more trusting, less begging, more agreement. This is maturity. This is partnership. Heaven is not far away. It is responsive. There will be moments soon where you feel prompted to act without overthinking. A message to send, a boundary to set, an opportunity to accept, an invitation to decline. Do not delay those nudges. Quick obedience preserves clarity. Delayed obedience invites confusion. Archangel Michael emphasizes that courage does not always feel bold. Sometimes it feels quiet and firm. Sometimes it looks like choosing peace over proving a point. Sometimes it looks like walking away without needing the last word. These are victories too. What God is building in you now cannot be rushed, but it also cannot be postponed. You are learning to move at heaven's pace, not faster, not slower. This balance will protect you from burnout and regret. Let this part settle into you. Not everything needs to be understood immediately. Some truths do their work simply by being present. Trust that what is unfolding is intentional, measured, and guided. As you continue, know this: the next unfolding will reveal why all of this preparation was necessary. And when you see it, you will understand why heaven insisted on your attention now. My precious one, what unfolds now goes deeper than preparation. This is revelation through experience. Archangel Michael remains present, steady and watchful, because the truths entering your spirit now must be anchored, not just understood. God is not merely speaking to inform you. He is speaking to realign how you move, choose, and respond from this point forward. There had been an internal shift you may not yet have words for. A subtle firmness where there used to be hesitation. A quiet confidence replacing the need for reassurance. This is not arrogance. This is identity settling into place. When God begins to restore identity, confusion loses its grip naturally. You are no longer trying to become. You are remembering who you are. Archangel Michael says that much of your past frustration came from trying to operate with partial awareness. You sensed you were called for more, but you did not yet have the internal structure to sustain it. Expansion without foundation leads to collapse. That is why heaven slowed you down. That is why certain doors remained closed despite your effort. It was protection disguised as delay. Now, something has stabilized within you. You are no longer desperate for outcomes. You are more focused on alignment. This shift is critical because desperation attracts pressure, but alignment attracts provision. God responds to trust faster than He responds to urgency. You may notice that your reactions are changing. Things that once triggered you no longer hook you the same way. Offenses that once lingered now pass through more quickly. This is emotional authority being restored, Archangel Michael explains that emotional mastery is spiritual strength in daily form. When you are not easily shaken, you can be clearly led. There is also a refinement happening in how you listen. You are learning to distinguish between intuition and impulse, between divine nudges and emotional urges. This discernment is necessary for what is coming next. God is about to entrust you with decisions that carry weight, not because they are dangerous, but because they are influential. You may be surprised to realize that the next season of your life will require less striving and more consistency, less proving and more presence. The temptation will be to overdo, to over-explain, to overextend. Resist that. Heaven is not impressed by exhaustion. God values sustainability. Archangel Michael cautions against returning to old patterns under the excuse of familiarity. Comfort can become a trap when it replaces growth. What feels familiar is not always what is faithful. Be willing to choose what is right over what is known. There will be moments soon where you feel tested in subtle ways. Not dramatic trials, but quiet choices. How you speak when you could remain silent. How you respond when you could react. How you wait when you want to rest. These moments are not obstacles. They are confirmations. Each right response strengthens your spiritual authority. You are also learning that obedience does not always bring applause. Sometimes it brings solitude. Sometimes it brings misunderstanding. But solitude is not isolation when God is present. And misunderstanding does not negate obedience. Archangel Michael reminds you that Jesus himself was misunderstood while perfectly aligned. Do not measure truth by popularity. There is an invitation being extended to you now, an invitation into steadiness. Not constant excitement, not emotional highs, but grounded peace. This steadiness will become your signature. People will feel calmer around you without knowing why. Your presence will speak before your words do. God is also healing your relationship with time. You have felt rushed, behind, or pressured in the past. That pressure is lifting. You are learning to trust divine pacing. When you move with heaven, time stretches instead of compressing. You will begin to notice that things happen more smoothly, with fewer obstacles, not because life is perfect, but because you are aligned. Archangel Michael says to pay attention to what drains you versus what strengthens you. This awareness will guide your boundaries. You are not meant to carry everything or everyone. Stewardship includes knowing when to step back as much as when to step forward. As this awareness grows, so will your clarity. Decisions will feel cleaner. Paths will feel less cluttered. You will begin to sense when something is complete and when something still needs patience. This discernment will save you energy and regret. Do not underestimate the power of small, faithful actions in this phase. Consistency builds momentum quietly. What you do daily matters more than what you do dramatically. God honors faithfulness that does not seek attention. Let this truth anchor you. You are not waiting for permission. Heaven has already approved your movement. What you are waiting for now is confidence to agree with what God has already decided. Archangel Michael stands as witness to this transition. The ground beneath you is firm. The direction ahead is becoming clearer. And what is about to be revealed next will show you exactly how all of this connects, past, present, and future, into one intentional design. Stay present. Stay open. What comes next will answer questions you did not even know how to ask. Beloved child, this is the point where understanding turns into movement. Archangel Michael is not only guarding what hath been revealed, he is now urging readiness. Heaven senses that you are closer than you think to stepping fully into alignment. What once felt distant is now within reach, and that is why this moment feels charged. God is not increasing pressure, He is increasing precision. You may feel an unusual alertness lately, as if your spirit is awake even when your body is tired. That is because your inner world is adjusting to a higher level of responsibility. Awareness always increases before expansion. Before God entrusts more, He sharpens perception. You are learning to notice what you used to overlook. Archangel Michael says this is a season of honest evaluation. Not judgment, not criticism, but truth. Truth about what you are carrying that was never meant to be yours. Truth about habits that once helped you survive but now limit your growth. Truth about relationships that have reached their natural conclusion. This honesty may feel uncomfortable, but it is freeing. What is named can be healed. What is acknowledged can be released. There is also a recalibration happening in your desires. Things you once wanted intensely may no longer stir the same hunger. At the same time, new longings are emerging quietly. Do not ignore them just because they feel unfamiliar. God often plants new desires before He explains them. Curiosity is the first sign of calling. You are also being trained in restraint. Not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every battle needs to be engaged. Not every opportunity needs to be accepted. Discernment is teaching you that saying no can be just as holy as saying yes. Archangel Michael reminds you that strength is not proven by constant action, but by wise selection. Pay attention to your energy. God communicates through peace and disturbance alike. When something consistently drains you, it is a signal. When something consistently strengthens you, it is also a signal. These are not coincidences, they are guidance. Heaven uses your inner responses as navigation tools. There may be moments where you feel tempted to rush ahead, especially when clarity increases. Resist that urge. Alignment is not accelerated by impatience. God is not late, and you do not need to compensate for imagined delays. What is meant for you will meet you at the right pace. Archangel Michael also speaks of restoration here. Not everything lost was taken permanently. Some things were paused. Some connections were delayed. Some opportunities were preserved. As you align more deeply, you may see unexpected returns, not always in the same form, but in better ones. God restores with wisdom, not nostalgia. This is also a moment to acknowledge how far you have come. You endured seasons that could have hardened you, yet your heart remained open. You faced disappointment without losing faith completely. That resilience did not go unnoticed. Heaven records perseverance. If this message is grounding you, strengthening you, or bringing clarity, respond to it. Like this message as a sign of agreement. Share it with someone whose spirit may be wrestling silently. Leave a comment expressing what you are sensing or learning. When you subscribe to this channel, you are choosing to stay connected to messages that speak directly to moments like this. And if you feel called to go deeper, joining the membership keeps you anchored in consistent spiritual insight and protection. Archangel Michael emphasizes response because participation matters. When you engage, you are not just listening, you are aligning. Alignment accelerates clarity. Silence can slow momentum, but agreement amplifies it. There is more unfolding, and what comes next connects directly to a realization that will change how you view your current circumstances. Hold on, because this next revelation will bring unexpected peace and direction, and you will be glad you stayed present for it. You are not wondering. You are being led. You are not guessing. You are discerning. You are not late. You are right on time. Let this settle. What God is shaping now will soon become visible, not only to you, but to those around you. And when it does, you will understand why every step of preparation was necessary. Keep listening. The next unveiling carries answers you have been circling for a long time. Beloved one, this is where revelation begins to settle into certainty. Archangel Michael is still present, not as a warning now, but as assurance. What God hath been unfolding is no longer theoretical. It is becoming personal, tangible, and grounded. You are not just hearing truth. You are starting to recognize it in your own life, in your patterns, and in your responses. There is a deep internal alignment happening that may feel quieter than expected. You may have thought clarity would arrive with loud emotion or dramatic change, but instead it has come like a steady flame. This is intentional. Loud moments can inspire, but steady ones transform. God is anchoring you so that what is built next will last. Archangel Michael says this is the phase where self-trust is being restored. Not prideful confidence, but holy trust. The ability to believe that when you sense God leading you, you can follow without constant second-guessing. For a long time, you questioned yourself because you were taught to doubt your own discernment. That season is ending. Discernment grows with use, and you are now being invited to use it. You may notice that you are less reactive lately. Situations that once pulled strong emotions from you now feel distant, as if you are observing instead of absorbing. This is not detachment. It is authority. You are learning to remain present without being consumed. That is a sign of spiritual maturity. There is also a refinement in how you interpret resistance. You are beginning to understand that resistance does not always mean stop. Sometimes it means strengthen. Sometimes it means refine approach. Sometimes it simply means confirmation that movement is happening. Archangel Michael reminds you that opposition often appears when alignment is increasing, not decreasing. You are also becoming more comfortable with being misunderstood. This is important. When you no longer need everyone to understand you, you become free to obey God fully. Approval loses its grip. Validation becomes internal. And peace becomes less dependent on external agreement. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop compromising. There is a difference. You can love people without shrinking yourself. You can remain kind without remaining silent. God is teaching you how to hold truth and compassion at the same time. Pay attention to how your prayers are changing. They may be shorter, but deeper. Less emotional, but more trusting. This is not a loss of passion. It is an increase in confidence. You no longer feel the need to convince God. You are learning to agree with Him. Archangel Michael says something significant here. What you are stepping into next will require consistency more than courage. Courage brought you this far. Consistency will keep you there. This means daily choices, repeated faithfulness, and quiet obedience even when nothing dramatic seems to be happening. You may feel tempted to look for constant confirmation. Resist that urge. Too much confirmation can weaken faith. God has already spoken clearly enough for you to move. Trust grows when you act on what you know, not when you wait for more reassurance. There is also a deepening of patience happening. Not passive waiting, but active trust. You are learning to wait without anxiety, to pause without fear, and to rest without guilt. This is healing old wounds around performance and worth. You are discovering that you are valued for who you are, not just for what you produce. Archangel Michael reminds you that heaven is not impressed by speed. It is impressed by alignment. Slow obedience is better than fast disobedience. Steady faith is stronger than emotional enthusiasm. God is building endurance in you, because endurance sustains blessing. You may soon notice small confirmations appearing, subtle shifts, gentle openings, quiet reassurances. Do not overlook them because they are not dramatic. God often confirms direction through peace, not spectacle. This is also a season of internal consolidation. Everything you have learned, endured, and processed is being integrated. Loose ends are being tied internally. Old lessons are making sense now. Past confusion is being reframed as preparation. There will be moments when you look back and realize that what once felt like delay was actually alignment. That what once felt like loss was protection. That what once felt like silence was instruction. These realizations will bring gratitude, not regret. Archangel Michael stands as witness to this internal strengthening. You are becoming grounded, less shaken, more centered. This is the kind of growth that cannot be rushed and cannot be faked. Stay with this process. Do not rush to label it or explain it to others. Some transformations are meant to be lived before they are shared. Let God finish the work quietly. What is coming next will bring a deeper understanding of why your journey unfolded the way it did, and how it all connects to a purpose larger than you imagine. Remain attentive. Remain receptive. Heaven is still speaking, and the message is becoming clear with every step you take. Beloved soul, this is where understanding turns into quiet authority. Archangel Michael is present again, not to warn, not to instruct, but to affirm. Heaven is acknowledging your endurance. What you have walked through was not light, and yet you are still here, receptive, open, listening. That alone speaks volumes in the spiritual realm. There is a deep settling happening within you now. You are no longer wrestling with every thought or emotion. You are learning when to engage and when to release. This is wisdom. Wisdom does not shout. It steadies. God is anchoring you so that what is entrusted to you next will not overwhelm you. You may notice that your inner world feels calmer, even when circumstances around you are still uncertain. This is not denial. This is trust maturing. You are beginning to understand that peace does not come from control, but from alignment. When you walk in step with heaven, chaos loses its authority over you. Archangel Michael says this is a moment of internal sealing. What you have learned cannot be undone. What you have discerned cannot be unseen. What you have outgrown cannot be comfortably returned to. This is not pressure, it is clarity. And clarity is a gift. There is also a subtle shift in how you view yourself. You are no longer defined by what you survived. You are defined by what you carry now: wisdom, compassion, discernment, and strength. Survival was a chapter. Purpose is the story. You may feel a new responsibility stirring. Not a burden, but an awareness that your choices matter more now. This is because influence follows alignment. Even if you do not see it yet, people are watching how you move, how you respond, how you stay grounded. Your life is becoming a quiet testimony. Archangel Michael reminds you that you do not need to announce your growth. Fruit speaks for itself. Let consistency be your language. Let peace be your confirmation. Let obedience be your response. There may still be moments of uncertainty. Do not be alarmed by them. Faith does not remove questions. It teaches you not to be ruled by them. When doubt appears, return to what you know God has already spoken. Anchor there. You are also learning that rest is not laziness. Rest is trust in motion. When you rest, you declare that God is working even when you are still. This rest will protect you from burnout and fear-driven decisions. Archangel Michael says something important here. You are not meant to walk this next phase alone. God will bring aligned connections at the right time. Do not force community. Do not rush relationships. Alignment attracts alignment naturally. As this phase unfolds, you may feel less urgency to explain yourself. Silence will feel safer than over-justification. This is strength. When you know who you are, explanation becomes optional. Everything you have experienced so far had been preparing you for discernment at a higher level. You will soon recognize when to speak and when to remain still, when to move and when to wait. This balance will become your advantage. Now receive this ritual as a sealing of what has been activated. Type "I am sealed in purpose" in the comments if your spirit is agreeing with this message. Blessing code 1441 is now activated over your life. As this sealing settles over you, hear this clearly. When you give into this work, you are not funding content. You are releasing light into lives that are standing at the edge of confusion. The Lord says that when seed is sown into fertile ground, it produces harvest beyond sight. I am speaking to you directly now. This is your moment to act in obedience. Your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal seed keeps this word moving to those who desperately need clarity. Do not delay what heaven is prompting. I bless every giver now. May your obedience unlock doors, peace, and provision. Release your seed today and let God multiply it. Beloved child, what unfolds now is deeper integration. Archangel Michael stands quietly, allowing space for what God has already spoken to take root fully within you. This is not a moment of new instruction, but of internal alignment becoming lived reality. What once felt spiritual is becoming practical. What once felt distant is becoming daily. You may notice that your decisions are beginning to feel simpler. Not because life is easier, but because your inner compass is clearer. When alignment is present, complexity reduces. You are no longer pulled in 10 directions at once. Distractions still exist, but they no longer dominate. This is evidence that your priorities are being reordered from within, not imposed from outside. Archangel Michael says this is the phase where spiritual maturity expresses itself through restraint. You are learning when not to react, when not to speak, when not to prove yourself. Silence, in this season, is not avoidance, it is wisdom. You are beginning to understand that not every situation requires your energy. Discernment is teaching you how to conserve strength for what truly matters. There is also a growing sense of internal safety. You no longer feel the need to rush into decisions out of fear of missing out. Patience is replacing urgency. Trust is replacing anxiety. This is not passivity. It is confidence rooted in knowing that what is meant for you cannot pass you by. You may find yourself reflecting differently on your past. Memories that once carried pain now feel neutral, even instructive. This is healing. Healing does not always erase memory. Sometimes it changes perspective. God is redeeming your past by reframing it as preparation rather than punishment. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this reframing is essential for what comes next. You cannot move forward carrying unresolved interpretations of where you have been. When the story changes, the weight lifts. You are no longer dragging old meanings into new seasons. You are also becoming more aware of your internal rhythms. When you need rest, when you need movement, when you need solitude, when you need connection. This awareness will protect you from burnout and emotional overload. God is teaching you how to steward yourself well, because self-stewardship is spiritual responsibility. There may be moments when you feel less externally motivated than before. Do not confuse this with loss of passion. This is a shift from adrenaline-driven movement to purpose-driven consistency. Passion fueled by emotion fluctuates. Purpose fueled by alignment endures. Archangel Michael says this is the season where endurance is quietly built. Endurance is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It keeps you steady when novelty fades. It anchors you when emotions fluctuate. It sustains you when progress feels slow. You are also learning to trust God without constant emotional reinforcement. Faith is becoming quieter but stronger. You do not need to feel inspired every day to remain obedient. This stability is a sign of deep-rooted belief. There may be subtle invitations appearing in your life now. Opportunities that feel calm, not chaotic. Conversations that feel natural, not forced. Directions that feel steady, not rushed. Pay attention to these. God often guides through peace, not pressure. Archangel Michael reminds you that discernment sharpens through use. Each time you choose alignment over impulse, clarity strengthens. Each time you wait instead of forcing, wisdom deepens. These small decisions are shaping your future more than you realize. You may also experience a shift in how you relate to uncertainty. Instead of fearing it, you are learning to hold it with curiosity. Not everything needs to be resolved immediately. Trust allows you to move forward without full visibility. This is not recklessness. It is faith. There is a new level of emotional honesty emerging. You are allowing yourself to feel without being ruled by feeling. You can acknowledge sadness without sinking into it. You can experience joy without clinging to it. This balance is emotional freedom. Archangel Michael stands witness to this internal stability. You are becoming someone who can hold weight, responsibility, influence, and blessing without being destabilized. This is why the process has been thorough. What is coming requires strength beneath the surface. Do not underestimate the importance of this stage. Integration is where many people rush ahead, only to struggle later. You are being allowed to settle, to solidify, to internalize. This patience will serve you well. You may feel a growing sense of readiness without urgency. This is ideal. Readiness anchored in peace allows God to move swiftly when the time is right. You are not waiting idly. You are standing prepared. As this part concludes, know this: the next unfolding will bring practical direction. Not vague impressions, but clearer insight into how to walk forward. What hath been internal will soon begin to express itself outwardly. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. Heaven has been deliberate in every step, and the next one will feel surprisingly natural. Beloved one, this is the moment where clarity begins to express itself through action. Archangel Michael is present again, not as a distant guardian, but as a close guide. What has been forming within you is now ready to move outward. Not suddenly, not recklessly, but deliberately, with purpose and protection walking together. You may sense an inner readiness that feels different from excitement. It is quieter, steadier, and more grounded. This readiness does not rush you forward. It stabilizes you where you stand. God is not pushing you to leap blindly. He is inviting you to step wisely. Each step now carries intention, and intention carries power. There is a growing awareness of responsibility settling into your spirit. Not pressure, but ownership. You are realizing that what you choose now shapes not only your path, but the atmosphere around you. Words matter more. Boundaries matter more. Obedience matters more. This awareness is not meant to burden you. It is meant to anchor you. Archangel Michael says this is where many people hesitate, not because they lack faith, but because they fear consistency. It is easier to respond to a moment than to commit to a path. But heaven does not bless moments alone. It blesses movement sustained over time. And you are being strengthened for that kind of faithfulness. You may notice that excuses no longer satisfy you the way they once did. Reasons that used to feel valid now feel hollow. This is not condemnation. It is growth. When clarity increases, excuses lose their comfort. You are becoming honest with yourself, and that honesty is freeing. God is also refining how you define success. It is no longer about speed, comparison, or visible outcomes. Success is becoming obedience, peace, alignment. When these are present, progress follows naturally. You are learning to measure your life by internal order rather than external applause. Archangel Michael reminds you that discipline is not punishment. It is devotion expressed daily. Small choices repeated consistently create spiritual momentum. What you commit to now, even quietly, will shape your future more than dramatic gestures ever could. There may be moments ahead where you feel tested not by hardship, but by routine. Faithfulness in ordinary days is where true strength is built. When no one is watching, when nothing feels urgent, when obedience feels simple but requires intention. These are sacred moments. If this message is helping anchor you, strengthen you, or clarify your direction, respond to it. Like this message as a sign of agreement. Share it with someone who may be standing at a similar crossroads. Leave a comment declaring what you are stepping into. When you subscribe to this channel, you are choosing to stay connected to messages that meet you in real moments, not just emotional ones. And if your spirit is prompting you to go deeper, joining the membership keeps you rooted in consistent guidance and protection. Archangel Michael emphasizes response here because engagement reflects readiness. When you interact, you are not seeking attention, you are declaring alignment. Heaven responds to alignment with movement. You may feel a desire now to simplify, to remove unnecessary noise, to focus on what truly matters. Honor that desire. Simplicity strengthens clarity. When distractions fall away, direction becomes obvious. There is also an invitation to trust the pace of what is unfolding. Not everything needs to happen at once. God is layering your steps intentionally. Rushing ahead would weaken what patience is strengthening. Archangel Michael says this clearly. You are not behind, and you are not catching up. You are exactly where you need to be to move forward well. Comparison has no authority here. Your journey is specific, and your timing is intentional. There is more clarity coming, not all at once, but enough for the next step. And that is all faith ever requires. Enough light for the step you are on. Enough peace to move without fear. Hold on, because what is about to be revealed next will bring a deeper understanding of how everything you have experienced fits together. This next insight will settle questions you have carried quietly for a long time. Stay present. This is where it begins to make sense. Beloved child, this is the moment where meaning begins to crystallize. Archangel Michael stands in quiet authority now, allowing revelation to settle into wisdom. What once felt scattered is drawing into order. What once felt confusing is beginning to make sense. You are not forcing understanding anymore. It is arriving naturally, like dawn after a long night. You may notice that recent events in your life are starting to connect in unexpected ways. Conversations from months ago suddenly make sense. Delays you once questioned now appear necessary. Even closed doors are revealing why they had to remain shut. This is not coincidence. This is perspective catching up with purpose. God often explains the journey only after the strength has been built. Archangel Michael says this is the phase where hindsight becomes gratitude. Not because everything was easy, but because everything was intentional. You are beginning to see that nothing was wasted, not the waiting, not the pain, not the uncertainty. Each moment carried instruction, even when it felt empty. There is also a deeper compassion forming within you. You understand people differently now. You recognize struggle without judgment. You notice pain without needing to fix it. This compassion is not weakness, it is maturity. It means you no longer need to protect yourself by hardening your heart. You are strong enough to stay soft. You may feel less reactive to the opinions of others. Praise does not inflate you the way it once did. Criticism does not wound you the way it used to. This emotional steadiness is a sign of internal security. Your identity is no longer outsourced. You are rooted. Archangel Michael reminds you that this rooting is essential for what comes next. God cannot build high on unstable ground. What you are becoming requires depth before visibility. And depth is exactly what has been formed in you. There is also a shift in how you view responsibility. You are no longer avoiding it, nor are you overwhelmed by it. Responsibility now feels like stewardship, something entrusted, not imposed. This change in perception transforms how you carry weight. What once felt heavy now feels meaningful. You may sense a growing clarity around your boundaries. What you will no longer tolerate. What you will no longer chase. What you will no longer explain. These boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They protect your peace and preserve your focus. God honors boundaries that guard purpose. Archangel Michael speaks gently here. Do not underestimate the power of your consistency. You may not see immediate results, but seeds are responding beneath the surface. Growth is happening quietly. Just because something is not visible does not mean it is inactive. Heaven works underground before it works in the open. There is also an invitation to trust your discernment more fully. You have learned enough. You have seen enough. You have felt enough. Stop doubting the wisdom that has been forged through experience. Discernment is not guesswork anymore, it is recognition. You are also becoming more comfortable with uncertainty without anxiety. This is significant. It means you trust God's character even when you do not yet see His strategy. Faith is no longer something you perform. It is something you live. Archangel Michael says this is where many people rush ahead prematurely, but you are not rushing. You are settling. And settling now will allow you to move with confidence later. This patience is not delay. It is preparation at its highest level. You may feel a quiet anticipation building. Not nervousness, but readiness. Like something aligning just beyond your view. That feeling is accurate. God is arranging details you do not need to manage. Your role is not control, it is cooperation. Pay attention to what brings you peace in this season. Peace is your compass now. When something disturbs your peace consistently, pause. When something strengthens it, notice. God is leading you through inner confirmation more than external signs. There is also a deepening gratitude emerging. Not forced gratitude, but reflective gratitude. You are thankful not only for what you have, but for who you have become. This gratitude grounds you. It keeps your heart open and your ego quiet. Archangel Michael stands as witness to this grounded state. You are no longer seeking validation from outcomes. You are aligned with process. This alignment is rare, and it is powerful. As this part closes, understand this clearly. You are ready for the final unveiling. What remains is not more preparation, but completion. The next unfolding will bring closure, blessing, and a clear sense of forward direction. Stay present. Stay receptive. Heaven had been patient, intentional, and precise. And what comes next will seal everything you have walked through into purpose, clarity, and peace. My beloved child, this is the moment of completion. not an ending but a sealing. Archangel Michael stands in full authority now, not as a guide along the way, but as a witness to what has been accomplished within you. What heaven set in motion when you first pressed play has now reached its appointed fullness. You are not the same person who began listening, and your spirit knows it. There is a deep calm available to you now, and it is not temporary. It is the calm that comes from alignment, the calm that comes from truth settling into place. You are no longer searching for direction the way you once were. You are standing in it. Even if every detail is not visible yet, the foundation is firm. Archangel Michael says this clearly. God has been speaking, and you have listened. That alone has shifted timelines. Heaven responds to attention. When you leaned in instead of scrolling past, when you stayed present instead of distracted, something real happened. Obedience does not always look dramatic, but it always carries consequence. You may still face challenges ahead, but they will meet a different version of you. One who is grounded, one who is discerning, one who does not panic at uncertainty, one who knows how to wait without fear and move without rushing. This is maturity. This is readiness. There is also a quiet joy available to you now. Not excitement that fades, but assurance that remains. You are beginning to trust God's nature more than you question His timing. You are beginning to trust yourself more than you fear mistakes. This balance is sacred. Archangel Michael affirms that what is coming next in your life will feel purposeful, not chaotic. Even unexpected turns will carry clarity. Even challenges will feel navigable. This does not mean life will be effortless. It means you will no longer feel lost inside it. You are also being released from old spiritual pressure. The pressure to always hear perfectly, to never doubt, to always be strong. That pressure was never from God. Faith grows best in honesty, not performance. And you have been honest. Heaven honors that. There is a blessing resting on your discernment now. You will recognize what aligns and what does not more quickly. You will sense when to move and when to pause. You will feel peace before proof. This is not imagination. This is cultivated sensitivity. Archangel Michael reminds you that obedience does not require perfection, only willingness. You will still learn. You will still adjust. But you will no longer wander aimlessly. Your steps have direction now. As this message concludes, take a moment to acknowledge what has shifted within you. Not what you plan to do, but who you are becoming. Identity precedes action, and your identity has been strengthened. Now receive this final ritual as a seal over everything that has been spoken. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if this message has completed something in your spirit. Blessing code 2024 is now activated over your life. This word did not come to you empty, and it is not meant to stop with you. When you sow into this mission, you are helping God reach souls who are still waiting for clarity, still listening for His voice in the middle of confusion. The Lord declares that those who pour out become rivers, and right now, you are being invited to become part of that flow. I am speaking to you directly. Respond to this call with action. Your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal seed, linked in the description, keeps this prophetic fire moving where it is needed most. This is not a donation. It is obedience in motion. I bless every giver now. May what you release return to you multiplied in peace, provision, and divine covering. Act now and partner with what heaven is doing.